Before the destruction of the Fazbear Entertainment Mega Pizzaplex, a smart decision was made by Fazbear Entertainment. The company was widely known for putting its eggs into one basket, one too many times. Mostly because the franchise package program had been declared a failure. This however changed a year before the fire engulfed the magnificent Pizzaplex. As an experiment, multiple small franchises were opened all throughout the American East Coast, and, to the surprise of many, a few in the American countryside, where not many people would come visit. One of these establishments was the franchise you owned, the Sun and Moon Daycare and Diner. It was close to a relatively small town. The first restaurant of its kind, as it sold the first Fazbear-approved burgers, the Bonnie Burgers, mostly to compete with a different restaurant franchise. As the name suggested, the Daycare and Diner was separated onto 3 floors. The bottom floor was entirely dedicated to selling food and servicing customers. The second floor was a sort of lobby for the daycare portion of the building. Here was a service desk, decorations, cubbies for the children, and a few playground toys. The third floor was for nap time and creative endeavors, such as finger painting and building stuff with paper and cardboard. The building was greatly ventilated and insulated. This way, the screaming kids above the dining guests would not inconvenience the customers, as well as the delicious smells from the kitchen not reaching into the daycare proper. The establishment was also proud to only have a singular animatronic. Ever since the creation of the Pizzaplex, concerns about the replacement of waiter staff with robots had led to controversy. Reaching out a helping hand, Fazbear Entertainment made the wise decision that the smaller franchises, such as your diner, didn't need too many robots. Among your employees were 2 chefs, one working the morning and the other the evening shift. There was a slight overlap in their shifts to allow faster food creation during the hours of 12 PM to 3 PM, as during those times the place was abuzz. Your waiter staff, consisting of 3 people delivering food to the right table, 2 janitors, and of course on-duty engineer Kevin. Kevin was mostly working in the Pizzaplex, but on-duty engineers would drive long distances just to help with repairs and other franchises. Their place of employment merely dictated which restaurants they were allowed to make repairs at. You yourself mostly sat around in your office inside the back room, staring at camera monitors, bookkeeping, and being here whenever someone had a complaint. It was kind of a power move when someone demanded a manager, only the follow-up being with a grinning staff member saying, "I do you one better, I'm bringing the owner." You had brought some baby carrots to chew on during your work. Man, it really was a boring day today. Not many customers. This had been the first quiet day since the Pizzaplex incident. Might as well cherish it, you thought, as you chewed on your carrots. But eventually you leaned back in your chair, bored. In the past, you had been called to the Plex many times for owner meetings. These were just gatherings of franchise owners so Fazbear Entertainment could advertise new software upgrades for the animatronics and potential extensions to franchise locations. You sighed. Honestly, why were you so obsessed with doing things? These past 3 weeks you rarely caught a break. It had been so exciting. You rarely had this many customers. Maybe the problem was that you, for once, actually needed to do something, instead of just running the books, crunching numbers. Hell, even your chef kicked you out of your own kitchen, because you just kept cleaning the dishes for him, which normally he'd appreciate, but since there was only a handful of customers, it really wasn't necessary. So against your better judgment, you decided to open up your private laptop to watch anime. And as time passed, you felt your mind slipping. right in the middle of an episode of I am married to a Wendigo and now I'm experiencing a world of magic I never thought possible. Wow, these isekai names really were getting ridiculous. And then you dozed off. The daycare attendant was looking out the window, waving towards a little girl who with a grin waved back at him, making him squeal in appreciation. She had been the last child for today, so he was going to be alone for the rest of the time. The robot was a diligent worker and took cleanliness maybe a little too serious, as he didn't take a break and immediately began tidying up the place. The kids were really behaved today, and he had gotten lots of wonderful pictures. However, as he neatly organized them into a stack, he ran cycles around the second floor. Normally, a human worker would tear down the oldest pictures, so new ones could be hung up. He couldn't do it himself, he wasn't programmed to do so. There was a reason for that. This made the employee who did it the bad guy, and not him. After all, what kind of family-friendly mascot would just ruin someone else's picture? The robot pinged your tablet, so you could do it for him, but he didn't receive an answer. He was starting to get worried. Maybe it was a human reason you couldn't come just yet. Blinking, the machine decided to continue its cleanup and worry about where to hang up the pictures next. The animatronic got rid of any garbage left behind, diligently added any left behind items into the lost and found chest under the reception, before using a broom to swipe the area. It was during his sweeping he heard footsteps ascend the stairs behind him. Happily he turned around, ready to tell you to take some pictures off the wall, when he was met by the late shift cook?
Hello there!
Shouted Sun. The man rolled his eyes. The giant really didn't have any patience for the robot. In his arms was a huge bundle.
Oh, what's that?
Is that a present? Don't be so loud, said the guy. It's the boss. She's sleeping. Sun jumped back.
Oh, I see.
I'm putting her down here. The cook walked past the reception desk, setting you gently on the soft ground as you slept. With a gruff grunt, the man then left you with the robot. He still needed to clean the kitchen. Meanwhile, the excited animatronic then crawled over to your sleeping form. Normally, Sun never interacted with a sleeping person. It was always his other personality, Moon, who was active during nap time. Sun wondered what you were sleeping of. Dreams were something machines couldn't do, so they very much intrigued him. He crawled on top of you, his face mere inches from yours. You turned in your sleep, making the robot jump back, only to then huddle back to your side. He thought he had woken you up by accident. Now that you were lying on your side, your right arm was poking out from the blanket the cook had wrapped around you. Slowly, cautiously, Sun poked it, which resulted in your hand closing around his finger. He felt his internal fans activate to cool him. Certainly, if he could blush, he would. And then, without warning, you took more of his mechanical arm in your hands, throwing him off balance, forcing Sun to lie down next to you as you hugged his arm like a plush toy. The animatronic, meanwhile, was head over heels. You were so cute. Gently, he swiped away a few strands of hair out of your face. The animatronic never was so close to a human before. Or maybe he was. Not like he knew what Moon was getting up to whenever he was active. Though the thought of sleeping on a giant mattress with his friends around him did sound very pleasant. You grinned in your sleep, and he tilted his head curiously, wondering what you were dreaming about. Though, if he could see into your head right now, he probably would regret asking so. As right now, your dreams were filled with big, sweaty, muscular, skull-headed Wendigo men, having their way with you. As in your dream, you weren't really cuddling with an arm right now, but it certainly was the length and girth of an arm. You mumbled happily in your sleep. Sun blinked. He didn't know humans talked in their slumber. Suddenly you started purring, kinda lewdly as well, squeezing his arm tightly and rubbing your face against it.
You're like a puppy, aren't you, boss?
Sun said excitedly. Puppy, you mumbled. Being called puppy was a huge turn on, especially when it was said by one of these hunks. You blushed hard, your tongue gently licking over what in actuality was just Sun's metal arm. He could feel the heat radiating off of you, and even feel your heartbeat. Happily, the robot patted your head.
You're a good girl.
He hushed, trying to come up with things to say and do to make you as comfortable as possible. Though Sun wondered if licking things in your sleep was normal, as your tongue began to slide across his plastic shell. I want your warm milk, Daddy, you hummed in your sleep. Sun scratched over his chin. If you'd let go of his arm, maybe he could procure some in the kitchen, though it probably was refrigerated, so it wasn't warm. He raised his head a little and turned towards the stairs. The lights down there were turned off by now, indicating the restaurant was closed. Damn. A groan came from you, and you got his attention back.
What's up?
He asked quietly. He watched a little confused as you were beginning to grind against his arm. You must really want that milk, huh? He thought. Trying to be nice, he reached for a long snake plush that was roughly the size and girth of his arm. Quickly yet gently, he switched out his appendage with the toy, before once again petting you on the head and standing up. The animatronic walked over to the reception desk, using the admin password. However, the robot was stunned when a window popped up asking him to identify traffic lights. What the hell were traffic lights? With a small collection of images accompanying it. This took him a while, and he ended up just guessing for about 20 minutes until he finally gained access. He quickly used the admin console to turn on the lights in the lower section of the diner, to procure the milk that you were asking for. As minutes later he ascended the stairs, a carton of Freddy Fazbear's birthday milk mix in hand, a very sweet milk-based drink that was meant to be consumed while eating birthday cake. He found you now lying on the ground on your back, with your arms and legs spread apart. The snake was draped across your upper body, its head squeezed tightly between your chesticles.
Boss, are you awake yet?
He asked, only getting a loud snore in response. He chuckled. Setting the milk on a nearby table, maybe by the time you woke up, the milk was just as warm as you wanted it to be. Happily, the robot now curled himself up next to you. Happy, thinking he was the best little robot Fazbear Entertainment has ever built. You woke up sometime later, your head spinning and being quite thirsty. The first thing you noticed was that you were still in your restaurant. The second thing was the snake plushie and sun. You scratched the back of your head, trying to recall what had happened. You remembered that you were watching a romance anime, and then just dozed off. Standing up, your eyes fell upon a carton of Fazbear milk. You furrowed your brows. It was sort of like Sun to just leave stuff like this lying about. "Hey," you hushed at the robot, who immediately jumped up and opened his eyes.
Good night, boss!
He said as it was right now 3 AM. "Yeah, good night, You pointed at the carton. "You usually don't leave stuff like that out. Do you need repairs?" Sun blinked.
But boss, you asked for warm milk.
For a moment you looked at the small robot in confusion, when suddenly your brain forced you to remember the dream you had. With quivering lips, all you could respond with was, Yeah, now I remember. Thanks, Sonny." Next time, you'd watch a more child-appropriate show before falling asleep. Hey, thank you for watching my video until the end. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and watch a few more. But before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe. I also have a Ko-fi and Patreon if you want to support me financially, and I also have a community Discord server. All links are down in the description. Hope you have a good day. Until next time.